Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian Lad, and this time I watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness at pointy-vebic speed and found 40 new details that you may or may not have seen before. Now, it took me 3 days to watch the film in slow motion, and I made sure to come up with details that will be worth your time. So please watch the video till the end, as I'm about to show you details in a chronological order. But if you just spare me a few seconds to thank today's sponsor, Marvel Collect by Topps. Growing up, I've always been a massive fan of collectibles, and I would consider Topps one of the OG trading card companies. I mean, the fact that you can collect digital trading cards right from your phone is awesome, and Marvel Collect by Topps has an insane amount of cards from the Marvel Universe. Now, with this being a Doctor Strange video, it's only fitting to showcase my favorite cards, including this Doctor Strange card. The artwork itself is super cool too. I'm really enjoying all the vintage cards I pulled. Just like with physical cards, you can sell or trade them, and they even come in different rarities. Aside from that, you can customize your profile, join a special event, or even complete missions to collect rewards like coins and avatars. My favorite feature is spinning the wheel to get free cards or coins. I always get a bit excited when I see my prize. Marvel Collect by Topps offers so much more than just collecting cards. It's truly its own little community, marketplace, and an outlet for all Marvel fans alike. Download the app through the link in description. You'll be helping out the channel a ton, and find me in app under the name Lad from Canada. So let's begin. Number 1. The movie actually opens from Wanda's perspective. Sam Raimi's camera work and the background score both support this detail. This background score is a direct recreation of the WandaVision theme song. In fact, the first time Doctor Strange thinks of Wanda in the film, the same music can be heard as well.
We know anyone who's faced such a thing? I think I might.
So this was a subtle hint that the movie is picking up right where WandaVision ended. Number 2. Defender Strange shoots an icy blast and freezes this giant monster. Now notice an amazing attention to detail here. Defender Strange conjures the same icy blast underneath his boots as well, to make them work like repulsors, so he can levitate or jump higher distances. And when he lands, both icy platforms break, just like actual ice would break if you drop them on the floor. He's basically Iron Man but with magic. Number 3. While fighting Gargantos, Strange conjures an axe and severs the tentacle holding Wong. Now notice the axe that Strange conjured had magical abilities which literally vaporized the severed tentacle into thin air. Number 4. When Gargantos wraps its tentacle around Doctor Strange, America Chavez tries to help, and she does that by kicking into this ledge, which then falls onto Gargantos. And notice when she slammed her foot onto the ledge, it created a star-shaped symbol. Not only that, it even broke the ledge in a star-shaped symbol. It happened so quickly, almost everyone fails to notice it. Another amazing attention to detail there. Number 5. After this massive fight, America Chavez steals the sling ring from Doctor Strange, and in slow motion we can actually see when it happens. Notice when Doctor Strange approaches her and opens a portal to get her off the ledge, that's the moment America steals the sling ring from Steven. Number 6. When we see Wanda for the first time in the film, we see her daydreaming about her twins, and she says the exact same dialogue here as she did in the final episode of WandaVision.
You know, a family is forever. We could never truly leave each other even if we tried. You know, a family is forever. We could never truly leave each other even if we tried.
Notice, unlike in WandaVision, in her dream the room is switched from left to right. Billy is now on the right-hand side of the room while Tommy is on the left, indicating this is not the same west view we saw in WandaVision, but an alternate one. Number 7. When Scarlet Witch lifts the magic and shows her true color to Doctor Strange, notice the pages that are opened in the Darkhold have this eye symbol in the middle of a magic spell, indicating how this was the last spell Scarlet Witch used to conjure Gargantos, because Gargantos is nothing but a giant eyeball with tentacles. Number 8. We learn in the film how the Darkhold corrupts everything and everyone that it touches, and that's why Wanda's outfit now has these black marks all over her body, which we never saw in WandaVision. It's not only her fingertips that turn black when she draws power from the Darkhold. She as a whole being has been corrupted by the book already. Number 9. Scarlet Witch calls out Doctor Strange specifically for giving away the Time Stone to Thanos.
When you gave Thanos the Time Stone?
And now when I think about it, yes, Thanos' snap impacted everybody, but it did the most damage to Wanda, because she saw the love of her life die twice in a matter of a minute because of the Time Stone. Kudos to Michael Waldron, the writer of the film, who paid attention to it. Number 10. When Scarlet Witch shoots red magic from her hand, we get to see how the sorcerers have turned Kamar-Taj into a fortress. And if we rewind back a few minutes, in the background we can actually spot a few sorcerers casting a spell to conjure a shield around Kamar-Taj. Number 11. Doctor Strange traps Scarlet Witch inside a cage made of glass. glass, but Scarlet Witch finds her way back using reflections. She comes out all twisted and bendy, but then snaps back into normal. And notice a very subtle detail over here. Her hands, her face, and her body have wounds all over them. Now the way these wounds appear, it tells us she cut herself while trying to escape from the glass cage. And that would make sense because these cuts look exactly the ones you would get if you cut yourself with a glass. So that's a fine attention to detail there. And a bonus detail in the shot, notice when her powers dissolve after she snaps back into her normal form, all of her power gets stored inside her heart, implying the Darkhold has taken control over her heart, not letting her feel sympathy towards others. Number 12. After Strange and Chavez land onto Earth 838, they land under the same roof as Chavez did in Earth 616. But just to show the drastic differences between our Earth and Earth 838, notice it has much more greenery all around. It has a lake with grass on each side, whereas in our universe there's a road with traffic, indicating how much more alive Earth 838 is compared to ours. Number 13. After picking up random food from the street, Chavez tells Steven that most universes have free food.
Food's free in most universes, actually. It's weird you guys have to pay for it.
But then Pizza Papa asks Chavez to pay for the food she took.
Hey, you didn't pay for that.
Crap. Maybe it's not free here.
Now here lies an amazing hidden detail. Not a visual detail, but still a good one. America Chavez thought most universes have free food because whenever she would get hungry, she would teleport herself to exactly those universes that serve free food, because she doesn't normally have the money to pay for it. So it's not like most universes serve free food, it's only a certain few. But America doesn't understand it because she thinks wherever she teleports, it happens randomly without her choice. But the truth is, whenever she's in danger or she needs something, for example food, her powers actually take her exactly where she needs to be. Strange even confirms it at the end.
Every time you opened a portal, you sent us exactly where we needed to go.
Number 14. Chavez tells Strange that you don't want to get stuck in the paint universe because it's really hard to eat there.
Were we paint in one of them?
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in there. It's really hard to eat.
Now notice when they were traveling through the paint universe, they both were struggling to even breathe. So if breathing is difficult there, eating must be a nightmare. Number 15. When Scarlet Witch dreamwalks into Earth 838 and watches over Wanda, notice Wanda could actually sense where Scarlet Witch's soul is even without seeing her. She first stops and looks exactly in Scarlet Witch's eye, and that's when Scarlet Witch backtracks and goes behind the stairs. Now notice what Wanda does next. She also looks behind the stairs as if she can exactly see where Scarlet Witch is standing even though she is not visible, and that makes the whole scene much more scary than it already is. Number 16. Strange and Chavez travel through a total of 16 universes in the film, and in slow motion you can guess that I didn't miss any of it. So without wasting any time, I'll just name the universes that I noticed, along with a few hidden details I found in them. First, we see the Living Tribunal statue world, featuring huge heads reminiscent of the Living Tribunals from the comics. In the comics, the Living Tribunal's purpose is to protect and keep the balance in the multiverse. Second, we see the Onslaught Canyon world, which paid tribute in a way to the movie 127 Hours. Third, we see a world made entirely of honeycombs, which also includes giant bees flying around Strange and Chavez. Now these are actually giant buildings but made out of honeycombs instead. Means everything in this universe is being controlled by bees. Then we see the underwater universe, where everything is underwater, nothing above the ground. But here's an interesting detail. When they both jump out of this underwater universe to an alternate New York, even the fishes teleport along with them. The VFX team even made sure to CGI the shadows of the fish to make it much more realistic. And notice when they were traveling through these universes, they were physically doing it. And here's how I know. This taxi pulls the brakes so hard that we can actually hear it. So if they weren't visible to the people in other universes, this taxi wouldn't have pulled the brakes so hard. Now there's another Easter egg here from Sam Raimi and Bob Murawski, the editor. They have this company called Grindhouse Releasing, and that's what we see on the taxi. Then we see a pipe world run by Stark drones. Now this was a deliberate Easter egg from the VFX team to pay tribute to Spider-Man Far From Home, where we've seen these drones for the first time. Now here's another detail I spotted in this one. Listen to the background score when Strange and Chavez travel through this pipe universe. It literally has no noise, implying these artificially advanced robots have been optimized to such a level where their movements cause no sound. Then they enter the skeleton universe, where it's filled with a bunch of skulls and bones, and some are even alive and moving. And then we enter the Savage Land, where we see dinosaurs and whatnot, which pays direct tribute to Marvel Comics' Savage World, which is the home of the classic X-Men villain Magneto. Now the idea of using the Savage Land actually came from Kevin Feige himself. And then we see the comic book universe, which many thought could be the What If universe, but it's more of a tribute to the comics, and it finally establishes that whatever we've read in the comics so far all exist in a different universe in the MCU. Now here's a visual detail in this scene that I caught right from the trailer, and I would like to tell you again in case you haven't watched my trailer breakdown yet. Notice America Chavez holds onto Doctor Strange's eye of Agamotto so that she doesn't lose him in this chaos. I like how this version looks a bit different from the trailer, but they still kept the scene where America holds onto Strange's eye of Agamotto. Then we see the post-apocalyptic world, which shows what would have happened in Avengers 1 if the team had lost and New York had been destroyed. Now as I mentioned, Chavez tried to hold onto Strange's eye of Agamotto, and Strange did notice it too. As a result, he's now holding Chavez into his arms as a proper guardian should. And that's how they enter into this cube world. Then they go through a paint world and then jump into a black and white world that's been stuck in the 1930s. Now this is a world taken over by Hydra, and this logo on the blimp confirms it. But it's only visible in IMAX. If you watch the regular format, you won't see this hidden Easter egg. And I like how the only bits of color we see in this universe is the color orange that got pulled up with Strange. Then they enter into this pyramid world, where it looks a bit ancient but futuristic at the same time. And then a cyberpunk-esque world where a giant propeller is generating light in the middle of the city. And lastly, a fiery world where everything is dark and is surrounded with fire. Now this could be the realm of hell, where Hela was banished into and where Loki thought he was after he was pruned by the TVA. Number 17. While Scarlet Witch is dreamwalking, a sorcerer called Sarah destroys the Darkhold. And as soon as the Darkhold was destroyed, notice Scarlet Witch's black fingertips, including the sleeves of her suit, were slowly turning back to normal again, implying the effect the Darkhold had on her has slowly started to wear off. But it didn't wear off completely, because this was just a copy of the Darkhold. The real one still exists. Number 18. Christine Palmer says Steven from our universe and Steven from 838 universe do have similar injuries, but they're not identical.
Your injuries, they're similar, but they're not identical.
Now the VFX team made sure what she said appears on screen. Notice both Stevens have injuries on the exact same areas except for the pinky finger. That's where the injury doesn't match. Our Steven has a much more broken pinky than 838 Steven. Number 19. Notice Christine Palmer has also dated the scans on her report. It shows 838 Steven suffered an injury on January 3rd, 2012, way back before our Steven, which explains how 838 Doctor Strange is more powerful and accomplished. But she dated our Steven scan as February 12th, 2021. Now in this case, I'd like to believe it's currently the year 2021 in this universe, not 2025 like ours. Because in our universe in 2021, Stephen Strange was still blipped, and this Christine never came across our Stephen before this day. So this date must be the current date in that universe. Number 20. Our Stephen tells alternate Christine to look after America Chavez, and hearing this, Christine gets a bit surprised.
Don't let anyone hurt that kid.
Now the reason she reacted that way is because the Stephen Strange she knew would never say anything like that. That's a very selfless thing to say, and it's definitely not coming from someone who holds the knife. Number 21. Inside the Mount Wundagore temple, we can see a huge Scarlet Witch statue. Now we can also see that there are two children statues as well, which likely represent Wiccan and Speed. In the comics, Billy and Tommy become Wiccan and Speed and fight alongside the Young Avengers. Number 22. When Scarlet Witch again possesses Wanda, there were leaves blowing inside Wanda's living room. Now notice the props department made a small dominoes that looks so beautiful when the wind blows inside the living room. Number 23. When we meet Supreme Strange, aka Strange from the 838 universe, we could see that his fingertips had also turned black, as it happened with Scarlet Witch. But notice his hands were shaking ever so slightly, implying how Strange never recovered from his original accident. The same thing is true in the case of our Steven as well. Despite becoming the master of the mystic arts, he still doesn't use magic to fix his hands, because they remind him of what he lost in order to gain what he has. And Supreme Strange having the same characteristic is a great continuity detail in my opinion. Number 24. In the same scene, we learn how the Illuminati has essentially defeated Thanos. Notice this Thanos was stabbed in the chest with his own double-edged sword, and he was also wearing his body armor, which our Thanos ditched as soon as he came in possession of an Infinity Stone, meaning this Thanos deemed the Illuminati a more dangerous team than our Thanos did to the Avengers. That's why he didn't get rid of his armor. And notice how this Thanos is also bleeding from his face, which the Avengers really found tough to do. Other than Iron Man and Thor, almost nobody gave him any fight in Infinity War. And this Thanos dying in Titan itself means he never made it down to Wakanda like he did in Avengers Infinity War. Number 25. After killing Thanos, the Illuminati decides to punish Supreme Strange with death, because that's the only way to save the multiverse from him. And in this shot, we can see Reed Richards holding onto Strange's cloak of levitation, which appears to be blue. So my theory is Christine might have used a portion of this cloak that Supreme Strange left behind to fix our Steven's cloak of levitation. Let me know what you think about this. Number 26. When Scarlet Witch infiltrates the Illuminati HQ, we see her killing the Ultron bots on the holographic image. Now each of this footage is from all of this bots' point of view. For instance, we see Wanda from the front, front. That's from this bot's POV, and when Wanda shoots down this bot, the POV falls on the floor as well. We see another footage from Wanda's left, and that's coming from this bot. Well, you get the idea. I just wanted to point this out because this shows the length the VFX team would go to ensure a realistic experience. Number 27. Now in one of those POVs, we can actually see how Scarlet Witch gets this sticky fluid all over her face. There were all kinds of theories as to whose blood it could be before the movie's release, and it seems like it's not blood, it's just some bots releasing fluid. And one thing I cannot emphasize enough is I love how each point of view follows the other, and there's not a single continuity error there. Number 28. Now the last detail from this scene is Wanda's everlasting head tilt. She did it in Civil War, she did it in WandaVision, and now in this film, just before she killed the last bot. Number 29. Inside Christine's chamber, we can see another Ultron bot interacting with the human. And notice as soon as this bot realizes the building is under attack, it goes from regular mode to combat mode. Number 30. Just before the final fight between the Illuminati and Wanda, notice the members of the Illuminati land in the order they were introduced to us.
Captain Carter, Black Agar Boltagun, Keeper of the Terrigen Mists. Captain Marvel, Defender of the Cosmos. Smartest man alive, Reed Richards.
Number 31. When Scarlet Witch killed Black Bolt, notice his eyes almost popped out of his head, and as a result, he not only bleeds through his nose, but his eyes start to bleed too. And eyes are part of the brain, so that was, such a painful death, mate. Number 32. After turning Reed Richards into spaghetti, Captain Marvel and Captain Carter are the only two Scarlet Witch has to fight. Now Captain Marvel blasts her from the top, while Captain Carter goes sideways to attack from the side. But notice Wanda never lost her focus on Peggy, even though she's actively fighting Captain Marvel. Now why is that? It's because the Scarlet Witch knows very well what a vibranium-made shield can do to your body. I mean, she was really good friends with Steve, so she must know. And that's why she reflects the shield and throws it deliberately onto this pillar, preventing Peggy from using the shield, therefore buying herself more time to fight Captain Marvel. This also shows how good of a fighter Scarlet Witch is. She thinks way too quick for everyone around her. And this is the exact reason Captain Carter got killed eventually. She lost her focus and wasn't quick enough to match Wanda's speed. Number 33. There are still discussions on the internet whether or not Peggy's body got sliced in half when Wanda killed her. Well, don't worry, I got the answer here. If you watch this scene where Peggy falls flat on the floor at 0.2 Febic speed, you will notice how her upper body falls on the floor first and then her lower body, meaning Scarlet Witch really sliced Peggy in half. Number 34. In the scene where Scarlet Witch kills Captain Marvel by crushing her with a giant statue, notice just before that, Scarlet Witch actually absorbed all of Captain Marvel's power, which is why we see her helmet and suit slowly fading away. But notice what happens next. Wanda blasts Captain Marvel with a photon blast that she just absorbed a few seconds ago. Now Wanda's blasts always appear to be the color red, but when she blasted Captain Marvel it was yellow, implying Wanda blasted Captain Marvel not with her chaos magic, but instead photon blast that she absorbed. That's why this explosion wasn't in color red. Number 35. When Professor X enters Wanda's mind, you can see that he enters through a door that looks like the one from Wanda's home from WandaVision. This is also why Wanda is stuck under rubble, thus matching where she and Pietro hid after the apartment was bombed. And notice when Professor Xavier tries to save Wanda from Scarlet Witch appears in her true form. This is how she really looks now that she's corrupted by the Darkhold, but uses magic to portray herself as humanly as possible. Also, when Charles tries to pull Wanda from under the rubble, we can see the small red TV playing the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. This exact TV was previously seen in WandaVision episode 8, when Agatha and Wanda travel through Wanda's memories. Number 36. When Scarlet Witch gets locked behind a door in the tunnel, Doctor Strange, America Chavez, and Christine Palmer all wait to see whether she blasts through the door or not. But to their surprise, Scarlet Witch takes a detour and comes from the side instead. And notice in order to do that, she had to harness so much dark magic that her true witch form appeared on the outside once again. And as I said, she then uses magic to keep her human form. Number 37. Sam Raimi's own 1973 Delta 88 makes a cameo in the Fallen Dimension. This car has appeared in all the Raimi movies. In fact, not only this, there were multiple versions of this car in this film as a nod to the multiverse. Number 38. In the Fallen Dimension, Doctor Strange and Sinister Strange have a magical duel where they use 2 classical music pieces as spells. Doctor Strange uses Symphony No. 5 in C minor from Ludwig van Beethoven, while Sinister Strange uses Toccata and Fugue in D minor from Sebastian Bach. So these weren't just random musical notes they were throwing at each other. They're genuine musical notes. Number 39. At the end of the film, when Wanda takes it upon herself to destroy the Darkhold, she destroys the Darkhold in every universe. But notice as soon as Strange sees it, he does sense something wrong with it as well.
So she destroyed the Darkhold in every universe.
She did the right thing.
This long pause from Doctor Strange might indicate that he knows something is still wrong, that maybe all Wanda did is go into hibernation, and that she will in fact come back. I mean, this isn't the first time she has been under the rubbles. It happened before, and now when she comes back, she might just come back stronger. And according to multiple reports online, not only is Wanda alive and well in the MCU, she will come back next year. Number 40. Now this detail has nothing to do with slow motion, but it's something that I observed. After seeing multiple Doctor Strange in this film, one thing that really stuck to me is the fact that how narrow the margin of error is for our Doctor Strange. He has to live the rest of his life in knowing Christine is married to someone else. He can't do anything about it, because if he does, that would make him the same as Sinister Strange. He also can never go find a solution in the Darkhold, because that would make him just like Supreme Strange, and he of course has to balance between holding the knife or letting someone else hold the knife for him, because if he doesn't, then he and Defender Strange will become one and the same. So if you think about it, our Strange, out of all the Stranges in the multiverse, is living the most difficult life. Now there are a few details I left out, for example Professor X using a yellow wheelchair, which is a direct reference to X-Men the animated series. But details like this are mostly spotted by everybody, but I wanted to give you lads something special, something you haven't seen before. I mean, that's basically my job. And that's it. This would be my breakdown of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness at 0.2 Febic speed. I hope I was able to give you lads a few new details you didn't catch before. If I did, then please give me a thumbs up, grab the subscribe button, and turn notifications on. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get updates about my videos. Till then, I'll see you lads in the next one.